Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this episode of the Battle2BE podcast. And tonight I have with me Chelsea Cargnel, and she is, I don't even know where to begin with her because she is so many amazing things. She is a police wife. She is a mother of an adorable little 4-year-old. She is an independent business owner, and she is also a survivor of a really complicated, really long trauma story, and she has taken what she has experienced and what she has gone through and turned that around into telling her story so that she can use that to help other people who are in similar situations to move forward, to understand that they're not alone, and to just know that they're supported. So please welcome Chelsea. And let's just start by just tell us a little bit about your life now and who you are and what you do for fun, and let us get to know you a little.
I don't even know where to start. I love to do anything crafty. I'm a cake decorator, and specialty treats. I love doing anything that has to do with art, music. I love to be outdoors. Dirt therapy is my thing. Plants have helped me overcome a lot of the issues that I had, trying to get through my trauma and heal myself. And I found an outlet in my gardening. I love to spend time with my son, who is sitting next to me and will probably interrupt us 30 times throughout the rest of this time. But that's about it. I love to take care of my family and help other people. Yeah.
Yes, I got to meet the little one a few minutes ago, and he could not be any cuter.
We'll see how many times he interrupts us.
Right. So typically on this show, we like to open with it. Tell us a little bit about your experiences, about your trauma, and the parts where the things that you've been through, so that other people have the opportunity to relate. And you don't have to get super detailed, just share whatever you feel like.
Sure. When I was 15, I started a job, and I met a young adult man who quickly I became infatuated with. And he basically, at the time, I didn't know what grooming was or anything about what was happening to me. But over the course of 3 years, he groomed me. He sexually assaulted me and took my virginity. He abused me physically and emotionally and mentally. And when he couldn't control me, he would hurt other people and other things and even himself to regain control over me. And it took me a very long time to be able to get away from him safely. And when I did get away, I started telling my story more and more to more people. And he started finding out that I was telling my story to people, and decided that he was going to come in behind me and gaslight me and discredit everything that I say and turn it around and blame me, the victim. Classic, victim blaming. Oh, she's crazy. She was the one that was obsessed with me. She's stalking me. Meanwhile, I quit going to college, where I was going to college here, and moved to another state and totally started a new career path and went to a new college that had nothing to do with what I was in here, just to get away from him. But I'm the crazy stalker. And over the course of the next couple years, he continued to stalk me, and he would find out where I was going or who I had befriended, and he would try to discredit me to them and weasel his way into their lives, and discredit me that way. And then ended up totally cutting off all communication with him when I met my husband. probably because he was scared of him. But he was in the Marines, and we got married, and I moved to North Carolina, and he kind of backed off a little bit. Little did I know that he was finding other women on the internet to groom and bring to Ohio from wherever they lived in the country, to basically do the same thing to them that he's done to me. And in the beginning of this year, someone had reached out to me saying that a person from California who had heard a story similar to mine, involving my abuser, that she wanted to reach out to me and speak to me about my story. So I reached out, and we talked for a little while, and she told me that there was an entire string of women that he had, young women, girls who he had sexually assaulted and groomed and abused over the years. And he's still doing it to this day. So that's basically where we are now. I've come a long way since then. I've been through every range of emotions that you can on the trauma spectrum, self-loathing, self-sabotaging, feeling like I was not good enough and that I deserved what happened to me. And the more and more people that he convinced that I was a liar, the more defeated I felt. And for a very long time, I felt like nobody cared what I went through. The world just kept going on, and here I am, still struggling with something while he's off gallivanting around with other children that he's meeting through his connections on social media with his large following of social media followers. While I'm stuck here, the one that's still hurting, and he's not hurting. And why is this fair? So then I met Krista, and we started talking, and I have totally changed my life since meeting her. That's basically where we are now.
Chelsea went through my program, but Chelsea is one of the people that I would say before she met me, she had already been doing this work for a good many years.
About a decade, a little over a decade.
Yeah, learning to love herself, learning to recognize her own value. And I feel like she came to me at the end of her journey just to kind of put the final pieces together. So you were already almost there.
I don't know about that, but
it's always a continuing journey. Healing goes on forever, and it's not a linear pathway. So there's always going to be times when we feel stronger and times when we feel resurgences of the pain. And anytime, because your situation is still alive, like you're still seeing this impact other people, and you're still in connection with people who have been impacted with it, and you're supporting other women. And she has a Facebook group for women who are in this situation. So it's in your face all the time. So you can't totally get past it because you're constantly reliving it. So tell us a little bit about starting the Facebook group and what inspired you to do that. And
I have a very good friend who is from my area who went through something similar, not with the same person, but something similar. And
something happened.
Hey, baby.
Some dog.
Hang on, I'm sorry.
The predator
Okay.
sparking up the dog.
Okay, I'm talking. Right? You watch your videos about animals, okay? Something about predators. I don't know. Anyway, she has always wanted to speak out about what happened to her because not a lot of people knew. And she never felt like she had an outlet to get those things off of her chest. And she had come to me and said, please, will you please start a private group for people who can just say whatever they need to say without feeling like somebody's going to judge them. I thought about it for a little while. I was kind of not really sure how I was feeling about that, but I needed a place to let go of my trauma, and I had access to a lot of support after it was over with. Even though I had a lot of people that didn't believe me, I also had a lot of people that supported me. So I thought, you know what? Why not? Let's start this. So I started, and she was able to come out and tell her story without feeling like somebody that knows her abuser was going to go and tell her abuser or the family of her abuser and start more drama that she didn't want to have happen. And I think that's very important for people to have somewhere safe that they feel like they can just wake up and say, I'm having a bad day. I don't know why I'm having a bad day, but here's what's going on. And for other people to say, I've been there. Listen, it's normal. It's fine. Just push through it. We're here to help you however you need. And I think it's very important to have that. So that's kind of why I started it.
You're what we call an unwilling. You're an unwilling hero. Like
Yeah.
people, when there's a need, people step up and fill that need. Like they always say there's different kinds of leaders and different kinds of leadership formulas and all that stuff. Well, they always forget to talk about the amazing leaders who don't step up until somebody actually needs them, and they step up and they do what needs to be done, and then they step out of the limelight. They're like, I don't want the credit. I don't want everyone talking about me as saving them. I just want to help.
Yeah.
But something needs to be done. Somebody needs to do it. So here I am.
Yeah.
And those people fill this world, this trauma world, and that's why I work with the people that I work with, because those are the unsung heroes. I'm like, they step in, do what they need to do, and then they get left behind. So it's like, who's there to support them when they need it? So that is why I love you so much, because you're the person who comes in and just says, there's a need. I don't really want to be the person to fill it, but okay, here I am. And you do what needs to be done. And people love you. You've helped so many people. And I've seen some of the comments. I follow Chelsea on social media, so I've seen just so many comments from people that are like, thank you so much for telling your story. Thank you so much for being so vulnerable. Just thanks for putting it out there. I don't feel so alone now. And sometimes when we start telling our story and we start getting the negative comments, the feedback that you were talking about, where people are like, they don't believe you. Why didn't you say something? Why didn't you do something? And they're like, well, no one forced you to stay. Like, you get all these comments and you can't help but think that some of them might have some truth to them. So then you start taking all this on, but you have come to the place where you look at that and you go, okay, that's a person's opinion.
Exactly. Exactly. And if they don't believe what you've been through, then they can go kick rocks, basically. Not that I want to say that about anybody in the world, because I love everybody, but, to discredit someone because you don't understand what they've been through and you haven't been through it yourself, it's kind of a crappy thing to do. So.
Right. Oh, my goodness. Oh. So also, you are a police officer's wife.
Yes.
So what is that like, supporting an officer?
It hasn't been easy, but our whole relationship hasn't been easy. Shortly after we started dating, he went on a 314-day deployment on a MEU. So it's kind of been hard from the beginning. So I don't know. It can be challenging sometimes. I find that being a police wife is a lot harder than being a military wife, simply because every day when you're in the military, you're not going into total harm's way. As a police officer, you don't know what you're getting into. So that's been more challenging for me uh, as a wife to know that my husband is going to walk out that door and might not come back. It was different when he was in the military because I knew he was only unsafe when he was overseas or in that, as you know, in that aspect. But now he's the only one out when he works, so it's a little bit harder because he's the only officer at his department on the road at all. So I worry a lot, but um, I think the military kind of prepared me to be a police wife, I guess. So it's not as hard as some people have. You know, when they see their husband leave, they're like, "Oh no, I'm just gonna go to bed because he's gone, and when I wake up in the morning, it should be time for him to come home. And if he's not home by 7:30, I'm gonna panic. But until then, I'm gonna go to sleep." So that's how I handle it.
That's awesome. So you have had the experience of being a military wife and a police wife.
Yes.
That's commendable.
Yeah.
It's hard when your husband's gone. My husband right now, he used to be a firefighter and he used to go through all of that danger stuff. But now he's a long haul truck driver. So now he's just gone all the time, but I don't have to worry about those kinds of things. I think we get conditioned to worry anyway, but
yes.
but
even when you think you don't. Even when you think you don't have to worry, something happens and it slaps you in the face like, hey, you do have to worry. My husband's department is very small, and like nothing really ever happens there. And when he was out of the academy and he was trying to decide where he was going to take a job, my mom and I are like, oh yeah, take this job here. It's so safe. There's nothing ever that happens. And within the first 6 months, he was the first person to be shot at in 60 years at this department. And I'm about to go to bed and I get a phone call and he says, in case any of your friends hear it over the scanner, I don't want anyone to call you and tell you I'm okay. I have been involved in a shooting, but I'm okay. And I'm like, what? What's happening? I thought you were safe here. So you never know what's going to happen, but it is very scary to have to worry about your loved one leaving and not coming home, especially in today's climate with all the things centered around law enforcement. It can be worrying, but I try not to focus on it because then I would just drive myself absolutely crazy. So
yeah, I've talked recently to a lot of people who are noticing the shift makes them nervous. That the shift in public perception and the feeling that they're being disrespected and like they don't know. They don't know if when they pull someone over, they are at risk or not. Like there's just the automatic presumption they have no choice but to presume that they're in danger at all times when they have to come face to face with anyone because it's happening.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have this shift where, okay, they're literally being shot in their cars when they don't even know that anyone's around. So of course they're going to be nervous. You know, of course they're going to be a little more on edge. So it's just going to be a cycle of they're more nervous, people are disrespectful, more things are going to happen. There's an inevitable downslide in everyone's morale and safety, and it's just, it's challenging, and everybody's looking for answers, but hopefully we can come up with a way to just make everyone feel more safe again.
Absolutely, that would be key.
Right. Mental health is key to everything.
Absolutely.
On every side of the whole
I couldn't agree more because 10 years ago, my mental health was not well and my whole life was falling apart. But now that my mental health is much better, things are much better in my life and things are much smoother. So I can totally attest to that. Mental health is key.
I still like the conversation is just mental health maintenance. That's the term I'm trying to get people to understand.
Yes,
that
absolutely.
Mental health is not just a conversation when you're struggling, Mental
Absolutely.
health maintenance, if you learn how to breathe and you learn how to be present in the moment and you learn how to de-stress yourself, there are tools and resources you can have in your body, practiced and rehearsed to the point that when something bad happens, when something goes wrong, you're ready with them immediately and your body doesn't freak out. Your nervous system doesn't freak out. So you have that ability to pre-train your mental health, resources. So, oh my gosh, I would just wish that everyone was not so afraid of that term. Like,
I know. Well, your program that I went through taught me tremendously how to do just that. When I get in a situation where I feel like my anxiety and my PTSD is going to be through the roof, I can center myself and use one of the tools that you have given me in my toolbox to calm myself down and make my meltdown from a level 10 to a level 2 or a level 0, instead of just automatically jumping to that level 10 right off the bat when things hit the fan.
Right? That's really what it's about. That's really what all of this is about, is regaining control so that you can logically handle the situation that's coming at you. That's my theory, is that if everybody had the tools and resources to just know how to handle it, it wouldn't be what it is. Like, people
Absolutely.
wouldn't have these blow-ups that they have.
The world might be a little safer place if that were to occur for everyone.
How do we make that happen?
I don't know. If you figure it out, I'm on board to help. Like,
right? I think we have to start teaching it in grade school.
That's a good idea. It really is.
Children.
Yeah. I mean, I teach my 4-year-old to do like breathing, and when he starts to feel like he's spinning out of control, and I can tell he's spinning out of control, we use some of the tools that you have given me to calm him down. And I'm hoping that will instill in him a better variety of things to combat the world when he gets older, instead of just jumping into it like I did. Like, what in the hell is this even? What is happening? And how do I deal with this? Hopefully he'll have a little bit of a better foothold than I did, I guess.
Be more prepared.
Yeah.
So is there any plans in the future for a book, or?
I don't know. Everybody keeps telling me I should write a book or start a blog, but I guess that's a fear that I have to get over, of the naysayers and the people who are going to say, well, why didn't you just
Whatever.
why didn't you just call the police, or why didn't you just tell your parents? You don't think my parents knew that he was abusing me, and you don't think they tried to help me, and he didn't like threaten to break in my house and slit their throats? And at 16, you're like, oh my God, please don't do that to my parents. They're the only ones that take care of me. And if they die because you're crazy, I'm stuck with you forever. So I'm just going to do what you say. So I think maybe once I feel more confident that I can just tell all of the people that have something negative to say to go kick rocks, I will maybe write a book or, publish a journal or start a blog or something to share my experiences. But I don't know.
I feel like nobody's going to let you off the hook, I think.
Probably not. So many people tell me you should write a book, or why haven't you posted anything about advocating for sexual assault and domestic violence? I'm like, I don't know, because I figured people were probably tired of listening to me talk about it. Like, there's that Chelsea again on her soapbox talking about not getting raped at 16. And they're like, here she goes again. But I do have a lot of people who really like to hear what I have to say. So I'm probably not going to get let off the hook for that one.
No. And I think it's really important to remember, even when we're not, I'm a very conservative person behind closed doors, but those of us who have a voice and those of us who have discovered how to speak, we can't stop.
I know.
Because no, there's a few people doing it. but not enough people are doing it. And if we look at the statistics about how many women are sexually assaulted, the sheer fact that most of them, 99% of them, are silent.
Mm-hmm.
And they're repeating the patterns. They're going right back into it over and over and over again. So they're not hearing the message. They're not feeling safe. They're not feeling heard. They're not feeling understood. They're not feeling like they have anywhere to go. Those of us who can speak just, like, I feel the same way. Like, I'm just constantly shouting from the rooftops, like, hey, it's me, and we're going to talk about mental health maintenance.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about PTSD. We're going to talk about child sexual abuse. We're going to talk about
all the really
violence.
uncomfortable things that nobody wants to talk about. We're going to talk about them right now.
And I'm like, hey, we're going to talk about these things. And I'm all like smiling and, because when you save people, when you get people through it, the results are phenomenal. So
Absolutely.
Yes, we're talking about nasty, dirty topics that nobody wants to hear about and everybody wants to pretend aren't happening. But the flip side of that is what happens on the other side. Those messages that you get, that I wouldn't be here without you. Thank you so much for showing me that I'm not alone. Thank you for helping me speak. Thank you for listening or hearing me and not closing off when I said something uncomfortable. So
yeah, it's very important to have loudmouths like us who don't mind making people uncomfortable.
yeah, it is a gift.
Truly.
Oh my gosh. Well, I know that Chelsea is a phenomenal baker and can do some really cute stuff. So if you happen to be in her area and it needs something custom done, what is the name of your business?
Sugar Coated by Chelsea.
So
all
look
one
her
word.
up.
Sugar Coated. Yeah, look me up on Facebook. I have, and I also have TikTok. Very new to that because I am way too old for this technology thing, but I'm learning. So,
yep, hook up with her. Lemon blueberry.
Yes, and anytime you come to town, I'm hitting you up with some lemon blueberry, and we're going to get some coffee and hang out.
Anything else you would want to tell everybody out there?
No, if you are a victim of any sort and you feel like the world is still turning and you're stuck in one spot, just hold tight and reach out to people like Krista, or even join a support group in your area on Facebook, or join one that's larger and you can post anonymously. But just batten down the hatches and reach out to people and remember that you are not alone. And lots of people feel like the world is still spinning and they're stuck in their trauma and it's never going to end. And I'm here to tell you that it does end. You just have to work for it. And I know that sucks, that you should have to put in the work when somebody else or something else caused the problem, but that's life and it does get better.
Thank you so much for being here tonight. And I just love you.
I love you too.
And I love watching you just flourish. Your posts are always amazing.
Thank you.
So you have an amazing night. And
Thank
everybody
you
out there,
yes,
also have an amazing night.
yes.
All right. Talk to you all later.
Bye.